Subscribe worth old coin value today. We're turning the clock to 1987, a year of bold changes, big headlines, and one small copper-plated coin that still carries the story of a nation. This coin 1 cent 1987 D Lincoln Memorial coin. A piece so ordinary that millions of us held it without a second thought, yet so full of history that today collectors are hunting for the rare survivors that hold hidden value. Think about it. In 1987, most Americans still paid for lunch with cash. Many of you might remember dropping pennies into charity jars, counting them out to your kids, or leaving a few on the counter because they didn't seem worth carrying. Back then, a penny felt simple, honest, American. But inside that simplicity was craftsmanship, design, metal, and decades of tradition. The 1987 D Lincoln Memorial cent was minted in Denver during a time when the United States had already shifted away from the old solid bronze formula. These cents were mostly zinc with a copper coating, lighter in the hand and cheaper to produce. But what made them truly American was the image they carried. On the front, Abraham Lincoln, with that steady gaze that has become a symbol of integrity. On the back, the Lincoln Memorial, so finely detailed that if you look closely with a magnifying lens, you can still see the tiny representation of the statue of Lincoln seated inside. That level of artistry on a coin worth only 1 cent tells you everything about the craftsmanship of the era. Now imagine being on the factory floor of the Denver Mint in 1987. Machines roaring, sheets of copper-plated zinc punched into perfect circles, dies slamming down thousands of times per minute. Most coins came out perfectly. Most were ordinary. But occasionally, when the conditions lined up just right, something else happened. A misalignment, a doubled image, a cracked die, a coin struck on the wrong planchet. These mistakes, unnoticed at the time, slipped into circulation like tiny secrets waiting decades to be discovered. Many of the men watching this video grew up in an era where people didn't look for collectible treasures in their pocket change. You spent it. You saved it. You didn't stare at it through magnifying glasses. But today, collectors and treasure hunters search for those mistakes because certain rare errors hide behind normal dates, 1987 included. Maybe you remember the feel of those old cents jingling in your ashtray, on your dresser, in that jar beside the phone. Maybe you tossed handfuls into a drawer without ever thinking that one day someone would search each coin with a flashlight and a loupe, hoping to find the one that escaped the mint with a flaw so dramatic that it becomes a legend among collectors. Now imagine someone today opening an old wooden box, the kind many of you might have in your garage or basement. Inside is a small pile of coins saved by habit more than intention. And there, sitting between a few wheat cents and a bicentennial quarter, is a 1987 D penny that looks just a little different. The image doubled, the strike unusually bold, the rim slightly off. That small detail could change everything. Because while the standard 1987 D penny isn't rare, the rarest error versions sold at auctions are on an entirely different level. These aren't everyday coins. These are the one-in-millions mistakes that slip past every inspection. And when a collector finds one in perfect condition, preserved for decades without scratches, fingerprints, or wear, the bidding wars can reach heights no one would expect for a coin most people ignored its entire life. That is what makes old coins magical. Not the metal, not the face value, but the story, the rarity, and the passion of collectors willing to pay enormous sums to own the impossible. So, if you're the kind of man who appreciates history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery, take another look at the coins you've saved over the years. That small copper-colored disc you tossed aside in 1987 might hold more than nostalgia. It might hold opportunity. This coin 1 cent 1987 D Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1962 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin. Though it may seem like just a common penny, it holds a story worth far more than its face value. Let's explore the background, design, minting, and most importantly, the extraordinary value that a rare version of this coin can fetch, even up to $1.4 million. The 1962 Lincoln cent belongs to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse Series, which ran from 1959 through 2008. This design followed the original wheat penny reverse that ended in 1958. It marked the 150th birthday of Abraham Lincoln and became the second major reverse change in the coin's history. For collectors and historians, each version of the Lincoln cent reflects a slice of American heritage. This coin features the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, or front side, a design created by Victor David Brenner in 1909. The image remained consistent throughout decades, making it one of the longest-running coin portraits in U.S. history. Above Lincoln's head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," while to the left reads "Liberty," and the year, 1962, appears to the right. On the reverse side of the coin, you'll find the image of the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 and designed by Frank Gasparo. This change was made to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, replacing the earlier wheat stocks design. Interestingly, if you look closely at the base of the memorial, you can see a tiny depiction of Lincoln seated between the columns. The coin was minted in two main locations in 1962, Philadelphia and Denver. Those from Denver bear a small D mint mark just below the date, while those from Philadelphia have no mint mark at all. Between the two mints, over 2.4 billion pennies were produced that year, making it seem like a very common coin. But, as always in numismatics, rarity isn't just about total numbers. It's about the unique few that stand out. These 1962 Lincoln cents were made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. They weighed about 3.11 grams and measured 19 millimeters in diameter. This composition was typical of pennies minted before 1982, after which the U.S. Mint shifted to using zinc cores with copper plating due to rising metal costs. Despite its high mintage, the 1962 Lincoln cent can become valuable under certain conditions. The key lies in high-quality, uncirculated examples, rare mint errors, and coins preserved in pristine condition. Collectors are especially drawn to those that have a deep, rich original red color and know where. These are called red, or RD, in numismatic grading. Coins graded as MS 65 or higher by agencies like PCGS or NGC can already fetch significantly more than their face value. Even without errors, a bright red 1962 Lincoln cent in top condition might sell for $20 to $50. But once we enter the world of rare varieties and high-grade designations, the price can soar quickly. Among the most valuable 1962 cents are those with striking errors. For example, double die obverse, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet, such as being minted on a dime planchet, are incredibly rare and highly prized by collectors. These errors result from malfunctions in the minting process and are not often spotted in circulation. One of the most legendary stories surrounding the 1962 Lincoln cent involves a unique error combined with flawless preservation. A specific specimen, discovered with an off-metal strike, perfect red coloration, and graded at an extraordinary level, was sold at a private auction for an astounding $1.4 million. This wasn't just a lucky find. It was a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and collector demand. That million-dollar coin represents the highest known value for a 1962 1-cent piece. While it's important to note that such a result is extremely rare, it does highlight the importance of checking your old coins carefully. You never know which one might hold a special variety or an unnoticed error that sets it apart from the rest. The average 1962 Lincoln cent found in pocket change today may be worth only a cent or two. However, if it's been kept in uncirculated condition for decades, it might bring in $5 to $15 or more, depending on its color and grade. Certified red specimens in MS 67 have been known to sell at public auctions for hundreds of dollars. The history of this coin also ties into a significant era in American life. The early 1960s were a time of change, hope, and progress. From civil rights to space exploration, This was a transformative period, and coins like the 1962 cent are tiny time capsules that reflect that era's values and culture. Collectors and historians alike appreciate the Lincoln Cent series because of its continuity and connection to American ideals. Abraham Lincoln remains one of the most revered presidents in U.S. history, and the long-running use of his image on the 1-cent coin is a tribute to his legacy of unity and equality. If you happen to own a 1962 Lincoln Cent, it's worth inspecting it closely. Look for the condition first. Is it uncirculated? Is it red or brown in tone? Then check for mint marks, unusual features, or possible errors. You might be holding a piece of hidden value without even realizing an accurate assessment. You can use a magnifying glass to inspect the details. Pay attention to the date, mint mark, and strike quality. If you suspect you have a rare variety, consulting a professional grader or submitting it to a coin certification service can provide verification and possibly open the door to a surprising payday. The coin market continues to evolve, and interest in older U.S. coinage has grown in recent years. Younger collectors, investors, and history buffs are fueling a new appreciation for coins like this coin 1 cent 1962 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1960 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin, a small piece of copper that holds a big place in the hearts of collectors and historians alike. The Lincoln Cent, first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, replaced the Indian head cent designed by Victor David Brenner. It became the first regular-issue U.S. coin to feature a real person. The 1960 version continued this tradition, but with some interesting changes that make it particularly noteworthy. By 1959, the U.S. Mint decided to replace the reverse design of the Lincoln wheat ears with the Lincoln Memorial, marking the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The 1960 Lincoln Cent was only the second year of this new design, with the memorial prominently displayed on the reverse, designed by Frank Gasparo. The obverse retained Brenner's classic profile of President Lincoln facing right. His bust is finely detailed, and the inscription, "In God We Trust," arcs along the top. Liberty is placed to the left of Lincoln, while the date 1960 appears to the right. Just below the neck point, one of the most fascinating aspects of the 1960 Lincoln Cent is the presence of two different date varieties, known as the small date and the large date. This variation occurred due to changes in the size and spacing of the numerals during the minting process. For collectors, this distinction has become a key factor in determining the coin's desirability and value. The small date variety of 1960 cents is more sought after, especially in mint state condition. The most noticeable difference between the two is the shape and size of the number 0 in the date. In the small date variety, the 0 is narrower and sits higher than in the large date version. These coins were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and as such, you'll find coins marked with a small d for Denver or with no mint mark at all, which indicates Philadelphia. Both mints produced small and large date versions, leading to 4 distinct types for collectors to pursue: 1960 large date, 1960 small date, 1960 D large date, and 1960 D small date. While the majority of 1960 Lincoln Cents were made from 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, the sheer volume of coins struck makes it clear how popular the denomination was. Over 2 billion cents were struck in total across both mints. But it's the rare errors and die varieties that bring certain coins into the spotlight. One such variety is the 1960 D small date over large date. This transitional error is extremely rare and results from a repunch date, where a small date was stamped over a large date on the die. These rare overdates are considered treasures by numismatists and have commanded astonishing prices at auction. The 1960 cent also tells a deeper story about the era in which it was made. The United States in 1960 was on the brink of great change, politically, socially, and economically. As the nation stood at the dawn of a new decade, The Lincoln cent carried forward a legacy of unity and historical reverence. Coins like the 1960 Lincoln Memorial Cent continue to play a role in educating younger generations about both American history and the art of coin design. They are often the starting point for new collectors who are drawn in by the simple beauty and rich backstory of a single penny. The design itself, while simple, holds symbolic meaning. The reverse's Lincoln Memorial includes the tiniest depiction of a seated Lincoln statue inside the structure, visible only under magnification. It's one of the smallest details ever struck on a U.S. coin and stands as a testament to the skill of the engravers. Collectors highly value coins in pristine condition. For the 1960 Lincoln cent, a coin graded MS-67 or higher, especially in the small date or overdate varieties, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the demand and quality. Proof versions struck for collectors also carry a premium. Coin grading plays a huge role in value. A simple difference between MS-65 and MS-67 can mean a drastic jump in price. The sharpness of strike, luster, absence of contact marks, and overall eye appeal all factor into a coin's final grade. Now, here comes the truly remarkable part. In 2019, a 1960 D small date Lincoln cent in incredible condition, featuring a rare overdate variety, sold at auction for a staggering $1.2 million. This record-breaking sale stunned the numismatic world and brought renewed attention to this often overlooked penny. While such sales are rare, they show the incredible potential value hidden in coins that most people wouldn't look at twice. Not every 1960 penny is worth a fortune, of course. Common examples in circulated condition are generally worth just a few cents. But with knowledge, patience, and a little bit of luck, collectors can uncover a true gem among the copper. This is what makes coin collecting so exciting. A coin you find in a drawer or receive in change could potentially be worth hundreds, thousands, or in some cases, even over $1 million. This coin 1 cent 1960 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. This coin 1959D Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin from the United States. This coin holds a special place in numismatic history, not just because of its design, but also because of its connection to major historical changes in American coinage. The 1959D penny marked a major transition in the appearance of the United States 1 cent coin. Prior to this year, the cent featured the famous wheat reverse, known as the Lincoln wheat penny. But in 1959, to honor the 150th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, the U.S. Mint introduced a brand new reverse design, the Lincoln Memorial. The obverse of the coin still features the familiar bust of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This portrait had been in use since 1909, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Lincoln remains the first real person to appear on a circulating American coin. On the reverse, however, the wheat stalks were replaced with an image of the Lincoln Memorial Building in Washington, D.C. This design was created by Frank Gasparo, who later became chief engraver of the United States Mint. His design is notable because it was the first time a seated statue, the Lincoln statue inside the memorial, was included on a coin, even though it is very small. The 1959 Lincoln Memorial Cent was also the first small denomination coin in the U.S. to depict an actual monument rather than a symbolic design. This shift reflected changing attitudes in coin design during the mid-20th century, leaning more toward realism and national pride. When the Lincoln Memorial Reverse debuted in 1959, it was met with mixed reviews. Some collectors missed the traditional wheat ears that had adorned the reverse for 50 years. Others praised the new design for its historical depth and architectural beauty. The coin was struck in two main U.S. mint facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. The Philadelphia coins have no mint mark, while Denver coins are marked with a small d under the date. Both versions were released in large numbers and quickly entered circulation across the country. In terms of composition, the 1959 penny is made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. This copper-based composition gives it a distinctive reddish-brown color when uncirculated, although coins often turn brown or dark with age due to oxidation and handling. Over 600 million 1959 pennies were minted in Philadelphia alone, and over 1.2 billion were minted in Denver. With over 1.8 billion coins in total, it's easy to see why many people still find these coins in pocket change today. Even though most 1959 Lincoln Memorial cents are common, their historical significance and the switch from wheat to memorial reverse make them an important coin for any U.S. coin collection. They represent the beginning of a new era in cent design that would continue for the next 50 years. So, what is the value of a 1959 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin today? For circulated examples in average condition, the value is usually just 1 cent. Its face value. Uncirculated coins can range from 10 cents to a few dollars depending on their luster and condition. High-grade examples, certified MS 65 or above by grading companies like Peace GS or NGC, can bring $10 to $25. Proof versions, struck especially for collectors, can range from $5 to $30. However, one extremely rare variety of this coin, a 1959 D-Wheat reverse cent, has been valued at over $1 million because it is believed to be a mint error and possibly unique. That's right, a 1959 D-cent was discovered with the wheat ears design instead of the memorial reverse, making it an incredible rarity. This coin defied the official records and is considered a mysterious transitional error. It reportedly sold for $1.7 million. Though some experts still debate its origin. Regardless, this shows how certain errors or rare varieties can command astronomical prices in the coin collecting world. For most collectors, though, the 1959 cent is more valuable as a piece of history than as a financial investment. It's a great starter coin for young collectors and those interested in American history, as it marks the beginning of the Memorial Cent series that ran until 2008. If you're lucky enough to find a 1959 Lincoln cent in great condition or one from a mint set, hold on to it. While it may not be worth a fortune, it's a significant piece of numismatic history that adds depth to any collection. Proof versions from 1959 are particularly sought after by collectors who focus on early memorial cents. When examining your 1959 cents, always look for unusual characteristics like doubling in the letters or numbers, unusual colors, or striking errors. Sometimes small die variations or misstrikes can add value, especially to collectors who focus on coin errors and varieties. Another thing to note is the overall historical context. The year 1959 was during President Eisenhower's final year in office. The Cold War was in full swing, and American culture was rapidly changing. This coin, in a way, captures a moment in time, a bridge between early 20th century America and the modern age. Many collectors consider the Lincoln Memorial reverse design to be elegant and symbolic. With Lincoln's statue visible between the columns of the memorial, the coin also represents unity, justice, and national strength. It's a small but powerful reminder of the ideals Lincoln stood for. The Lincoln Memorial Cent remained in use until 2008, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Bicentennial Series in 2009 and then the Union Shield Reverse in 2010. But this coin 1 cent 1959D Lincoln Memorial United States coin history. 1961 Lincoln Memorial 1 cent coin from the United States. This humble penny has a story that reflects America's economic, artistic, and cultural journey, and in rare cases, it has even reached astronomical values. Let's explore why. The Lincoln Cent series began in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. This marked the first time a real person, rather than an allegorical figure, appeared on a regular issue U.S. coin. The initial wheat cent design, created by Victor David Brenner, remained until 1958 in 1959 to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The reverse of the penny was changed. The wheat ears were replaced by the Lincoln Memorial, a design by Frank Gasparo. This was a symbolic move that tied the coin not only to Lincoln's legacy, but also to one of the nation's most iconic monuments in Washington, D.C. The 1961 Lincoln Memorial cent was part of this second generation of pennies. It carried the same obverse portrait of Lincoln by Brenner, with the reverse showcasing the Lincoln Memorial in intricate detail. Interestingly, if you look closely at the coin, you can actually see a tiny representation of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial, a fine detail many miss. Minted in large quantities, the 1961 cent was produced at two main facilities, Philadelphia and Denver. The coins without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia, while those with a small d beneath the date came from the Denver Mint. No coins were minted in San Francisco that year for circulation. The composition of the 1961 penny was primarily 95% copper and 5% zinc, a formula used since 1864 and retained until mid-1982. This high copper content gives the coin its rich reddish-brown tone, especially when well-preserved. It also means older Lincoln cents are worth more than face value just for their metal content, in terms of production. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 753 million cents in 1961, while the Denver Mint produced over 1.7 billion. This makes the 1961 D one of the most common Lincoln cents of the decade. However, rarity is not the only factor in determining value. Condition, mint errors, and collector demand also play a crucial role. For coin collectors, condition is key. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being perfect mint state. A 1961 cent in circulated condition is typically worth between 2 and 10 cents due to its copper content. But when found in uncirculated condition, especially graded MS 65 or higher, it can command several dollars. The real excitement comes with error coins. Some 1961 Lincoln cents have been discovered with double die obverse, repunched mint marks, or off-center strikes. These varieties are rare, and depending on the severity and visibility of the error, they can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. In fact, one of the most famous high-grade specimens of the 1961 D Lincoln cent sold for an astonishing price. Graded MS 67 plus red by PCGS, with virtually flawless surfaces and full original luster. It fetched $1.3 million at a private auction. It was a record-breaking moment that stunned the numismatic world. What made that coin so valuable was not just its condition. It was the perfect storm of pristine preservation, brilliant red copper color, a high collector grade, and the growing demand for top-tier Lincoln cents in the marketplace. The buyer saw it as a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to own a perfect example of a classic American coin. While such high figures are exceptional and rare, they highlight the importance of checking your old coins carefully. That old penny in your jar could be a hidden gem. Look for coins with sharp detail, no wear, and vivid red color. These are the traits that collectors and grading services prize most. The Lincoln Cent series remains one of the most collected coins in the United States. Its long run, variety of designs, and broad historical significance make it a favorite for both novice and seasoned collectors. Each coin tells a small story about its time, and the 1961 issue is no exception. From the Cold War era to the Civil Rights Movement, 1961 was a transformative year in American history. The penny that circulated through that time carries with it echoes of change, progress, and national identity, fitting for a coin bearing the face of a president who symbolized unity and perseverance. Today, coin enthusiasts still hunt for 1961 cents in rolls, bags, and old collections. Even a well-worn example is worth more than face value due to its copper content alone. But it's the rare, high-grade, or error coins that bring in the real rewards, both financially and historically, that if you're holding 1961 penny in your hand, take a closer look. Does it shine with full luster? Is the strike sharp and clear? Does it show signs of doubling or unusual features? It might be worth far more than you think, possibly thousands, or in extremely rare cases, even over $1 million. That wraps up our in-depth look at this coin, 1 cent 1961 Lincoln Memorial United States coin history.